Okay, Derbyites, Emmy race for Best Comedy Actress 2014. Who's going to win? Paul Sheehan always has the right answer, right, Paul? So who's got it?
Yeah, I tend to have the right answers moments before I turn off the prediction center, just to put that caveat out there. I think in this instance, though, even I can get this right at this point and say that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to win for the third year running for Veep. That's what I would urge everyone to go up there in the upper left corner on the Emmys drop-down menu, explore all our charts, look at the combined chart that shows you 23 of our top 24 users. That is the top 24 users who predicted the winners last year. 23 of those 24, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
But how many of them have watched the episodes, Paul?
Okay,
And that's the key
all the
question,
experts
because in these episodes there's a big surprise, literally.
Okay, I don't. Let me finish. Let me finish. All the 13 out of the 14 experts, and now this is where you're talking, Tom, because 6 of the 8 editors picked Julia Dreyfus. 2 of them, 2, are picking Melissa McCarthy. And why is that, Tom? Why are they picking Melissa McCarthy?
Who's picking McCarthy?
Oh gosh, you got me there. Let's see. 2 editors. Who are the 2 wise editors? Daniel Montgomery and Rob LaCuria.
Okay.
So these are people that watch the individual episodes, and they've gone with Melissa McCarthy because it's a very poignant episode.
She has pulled off a surprise in this category once before, when we all kind of just wrote her off and said, oh no, she's just that star from Bridesmaids. And of course she got an Oscar nomination for Bridesmaids. But she had an episode back then that was very, very, very charming, and it was a big humorous one. And this year she's got something that's a real surprise, a real nice surprise. You know, she goes to visit her therapist, and she recalls how her father, who died when she was 10, was not much of a presence in her life, and she's trying to reconcile all this now that she's in middle age. And it's very funny, and how she tries to dodge the seriousness of the whole thing with the therapist. And then gradually throughout the episode, she explores this more and more until the big final scene when when Molly's on the swing sets with Mike, and she has this real teary remembrance, and it really, Chris, really, it's a gut wrencher, isn't it? Just really, she nails it.
I was surprised. I don't watch the show regularly. I don't think many people do.
I do.
You know, if it was just that, if it was overly dramatic, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. But she does have a lot of funny stuff in the episode too, especially the first half when she's on in the shrink's office, and yeah, she's a real threat here. I could see it happening. I think you brush off the Bridesmaids thing a little too much from a couple of years ago when she won. I think that actually impacted her winning more than her actual episode.
She was the it girl. I mean, she was the
it girl. Bridesmaids was out that summer. It was still playing in theater. She was already getting awards talk for that for months down the road, and she was a big discovery right in that moment.
Yeah, it's a lovely episode. And I'm a fan of 3-camera comedy. I just like that format, and she does so well in it. And I'm predicting Julia Louis-Dreyfus, mind you, because I just feel like she's got that momentum. But boy, in this instance, I would say Melissa McCarthy has an episode that's at least as strong as Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So, Tom, where do you have everyone? Do you remember where you've got everyone else ranked? Let me just refresh your memory.
Go ahead, Dan. It doesn't matter because I'll move them around later tonight. Last time in 2011, Melissa McCarthy beat Edie Falco, Tina Fey, Laura Linney. That was for the pilot of The Big C. We all thought Laura Linney was going to win there.
That's
right. Martha Plimpton and Amy Poehler for Flu Season. And so what was interesting there is...
Amy Poehler and Melissa had similar episodes that year, and I had picked Amy. They both kind of got drunk on flu medicine.
Right. So here's my pickle on this year's race. I agree with you guys that Julia Louis-Dreyfus will win. I think she's got the episode that has the most gravitas. She, of course, finds out that after much blundering and screwing up that she's somehow going to become president of the United States thanks to the commander-in-chief stepping down. And while she's very, very obnoxious and even hateful in this episode, and she then redeems herself and becomes very likable, and then she's got the big physical comedy scene at the end where she's flopping around on the bathroom floor with Tony Hale. I think there is this kind of this moving up to the presidency thing that gives it importance too, and also I think she's just cool and bulletproof. I think that everybody really, really likes her a lot, and she has some real moments, wonderful teary moments when she doesn't think she's ever going to become president. Earlier in the episode, where this reporter gets a hold of a tape where she's trashing everybody, and that leaks out, and it looks like her campaign is over and her career with it. So she has a really terrific scene there. But that said, it's not enough for us to convince ourselves that Kevin Spacey will win drama actor because he becomes president of the United States at the end of his. And here's where I'm being an utter hypocrite. Because the same logic that I'm using for Julia Louis-Dreyfus versus Melissa McCarthy, I am abandoning when you go the other direction for Best Actor, where you have Jim Parsons, who looks like the inevitable champ. He's won, 2 out of the last 3 years?
That's right.
Or 3 out of the last 4 years. What's it been?
That's right. 3 out of 4, yeah.
3 out of 4. There's Ricky Gervais being the big threat there, and I think Ricky's going to win because it's so emotional. It's such a big, nice surprise, and he's dealing with the death of his father. Same thing with Melissa McCarthy. And you have these two super hyper cool stars, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jim Parsons. I really should be consistent in my logic here and say, okay, well, the daddy dying episode isn't good enough to take down Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but it's good enough to take down Parsons. And therein I'm conflicted, because when you look back through Emmy history, you do see surprises like Roseanne Barr winning for an episode where she's dealing with her father.
Yeah, but there was something to her being grossly overdue. And the emphasis on gross. So, what about and Tom? You've got Melissa McCarthy in second. Chris, going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit on this. At this point, you have Amy Poehler in second. Now,
that's because he and Amy are buddies.
Okay. No, let's give Chris at least 10 seconds to defend.
Well, listen, that's true, but I really like Amy's episode. She also...
This girl can never win an Emmy, though. I mean, what makes you... I mean, you've only got her in second, so I'm not going to get too hard on you here. But, really? She can't... There's years that you would have thought she was a slam dunk and couldn't win. Why do you even have her that high up?
I like her episode better than Melissa's. That's just that simple. I think she's another one that's really loved in the industry overall, and I think she will win soon. I don't think it's this year. I do have Julia in first, but I really like her episode. She's also dealing with. She's a real hero in her episode, because nothing has meant more for her over these past couple of seasons than getting on the city council. And she basically throws that away at the end of this episode to save her town, and knowing that that's going to mean that she's going to get voted out, and she does, and she gets a little drunk in this episode and goes overboard, and I like the physical comedy of it. I think she will win, and in the year she wins, it might be a surprise, just because I think talk about overdue.
Now, somebody who's sort of the new girl in town, Taylor Schilling, is ranked second in our prediction center overall. I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is way ahead, odds of 1-4, and Taylor Schilling is at 12-1. I mean, that's almost 50 times behind her. But this show. I mean, we when we talked about drama actress, Michelle Dockery, Downton Abbey with an extended length episode. What is there to this, Tom? I mean, that. Orange is the New Black. It's twice as long as all of these other episodes. Does that give her an edge? I mean, or is it just more of something to slog through when you're a voter?
No. Usually size matters in Hollywood, and usually the longest episode wins. That's how Helen Hunt kept beating.
Everyone.
Everybody, right? Exactly. We kept going, what's that all about? Well, those were special 1-hour episodes of Mad About You. But Orange is the New Black, as Chris likes to point out, and our other editors, isn't funny. It's not really comedic. This has some nice comedic things in it, but the problem is her role is not very expressive. Her character isn't. What makes her so appealing is that she is. You see the story. it's like the old Mary Tyler Moore show or Seinfeld, where the central character is kind of bland, and all the crazies are around them. Now, Mary, that said, did win a couple of Emmys.
Well, she was a straight woman, but had some curves to her. And
yeah, all right, that's true. But Taylor doesn't. You know, in this episode, she's just all these horrible things are happening to her, and she's very good, and she's extremely appealing and sympathetic. But Chris, I didn't see any big fireworks there. Did you?
I didn't, and I was honestly disappointed she didn't submit the pilot, because that sets up the whole series.
That's right.
And you don't have the distractions as much from all of the supporting characters at that stage, and you don't really know as much about the supporting characters at that stage. I thought, and she has some very funny moments in the pilot. I thought that would have been a much better submission. This one's okay. I think I've got her in 4th or so. I just don't see her getting around those other 3 ladies.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I love Lena Dunham's submission. I know everyone's ranking her low, and most people don't think much of the submission, but I think it's really great. Boy, the courage this woman has with this very flabby body, getting in this little string bikini and waddling around throughout the whole show, and she's just fearless in every way, and she's it's great writing. She really feels like a social misfit here on this weekend at the with her friends and all these dramas that go on. Now I know she's extremely irritating. Her character is in this episode and whiny, and you don't even want to root for. You just want to say shut up. But that said, I still think it's a really interesting performance. I don't think she can win, but I liked what I saw there.
Yeah, but that episode, I mean, that's the very definition of an ensemble episode, and that's what I was reading in the forums right after we announced the selection, and I totally agree. And I think because she is so involved in all stages of the show, she chose her favorite episode of the season, and a lot of viewers' favorite episode of the season, not thinking about, was it my best performance, was it the best for Hannah?
Well, she has some big speeches there where she, rips into her friend there. So I think she's
such an ensemble episode. I mean, so many scenes are featuring, them dancing around and them all out shopping. I mean, it's just so many scenes are the whole group of them.
Paul, what do you think of all this?
Oh, don't get me started on girls. I mean, I think it's Shrek in the City. I mean, that girl is to have to watch that was really, I mean, I felt like I was in Homeland being waterboarded. I mean, so it's just it's not my show. So, but having said that, I give her, I mean, the fact that she writes it, produces it, directs it. I mean, she is, I mean, she's like Louis, in that, I mean, this is her baby. It's just that wasn't for me. That one, and I think it was sort of like what I feel like it's like with Amy Poehler, that her moment was a couple of years ago at the Emmys. I feel like there is something, especially with television, and there's something always constantly new. And the great thing about Veep, and this is where, versus say a Melissa McCarthy, where they're turning out 22 a year. I mean, my gosh, there have barely been 22 episodes of Veep over 3 years. So it still feels fresh because it's a treat. You get 6 or 8 of them and gobble them up, and then you have to wait a year for them. And certainly, boy, when the two of you chatted with Julia Dreyfus, and if anyone has not watched that chat, look for it on Gold Derby. It is a wonderful half hour. You will not go wrong watching this, because you see her unfiltered Julia Dreyfus at home, hours before she glams up to walk a red carpet. There she is talking to Chris and Tom. And she's just so gosh darn likable in person.
Well, except when she told me, "Screw you, Tom."
Well, deservedly so. No,
but she does it with love.
She does it with love. And you need to watch the chat to find out why Julia Louis-Dreyfus legitimately attacked our Tom O'Neill. And I think she's...
Would you two, I mean, I don't know who else it would be, but would you two say she's the most liked person in the TV industry right now?
Yeah, she's just so cool and sexy, and it's.
And the thing about Veep is, it's getting stronger at the Emmys.
Yes.
When she first won, it had a comedy series. Tony Hill wasn't in yet. No directing, no writing. Last year it picked up more. This year it picked up even more. I think, if anything, it's getting stronger. I think people that voted her in the first year are now discovering it even more.
That's right. I mean, here's a girl who won for New Adventures of Old Christine when it only aired 13 episodes, because they were just thrilled that Julia had broken the Seinfeld curse. Her first series after Seinfeld didn't last long. It was sort of done in real time, long before Jack Bauer in 24. And then she comes back with a 3-camera comedy, and people loved it, embraced it, her particularly. And then the same thing with Veep. They only had 6 or 8 episodes. Boom, give her an Emmy. Last year, give her another. Now I think 3rd time's the charm. This is, and she knows her Emmy history. Again, you watch that. Watch her demand to be educated by Tom and Chris to know what the records are that she's now, she's put those on a cue card, and those are up on her desk. She's
very competitive, I know.
She is, as you should be if you're playing a Politico. So anyway, it's
I'm glad you mentioned Helen Hunt earlier. This categories go through cycles, and we had a long stretch before Julia here where it was, 12, 13, 14 different women in a row. But before that, it was Helen Hunt and Candice Bergen dominating a whole decade, basically. And I think that's what's happening with Julia now, that the cycles shift on these things.
There is no chance, I don't think, that Edie Falco pulls off an upset here. Her episode is, it's a great show. It's very well written. Her performance is solid and respectable, but it's the same thing every week, and this is the same submission every year. And this one isn't really amazing in any way. Do either of you agree with me or disagree with me? Is there something I missed there?
No, but as somebody who doesn't watch that show week in and week out, it's a lot of fun. I mean, she's just to watch even just that one episode where that's what we had talked about over on the drama side. I mean, talk about acting with a capital A. I mean, she's got a lot to do in it, and you can see why she won, why she became the first woman to ever win lead comedy actress, having won lead drama. She joined Archie Bunker. Carol O'Connor had done that.
Robert Young.
Robert Young. Well, okay, Father Knows Best. We're not sure. Was that a comedy or drama? But she was thrilled to join the company of Archie Bunker, and it's a great episode. And I think her reward in this case is the nomination, that she's still being remembered by the Collective Academy. And it was there's a lot of women that didn't get nominated this year. So I think for her, the nomination was the win.
And somebody that doesn't watch that show, that was an impressive episode. I didn't know any context of what was going on before that or after that. So she is as good an actress as is on TV, and always is going to be formidable in terms of probably getting a nomination. But I agree, somebody's got to be in 6th place, and I think that's where I've got her.
I would say about that episode, that made me want to go watch the whole season, Edie Falco's episode. And I can't say that for Lena Dunham's. So,
here is why Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to win, in case you guys want to know. It doesn't matter, again, who gets the most #1 votes. It matters who gets the lowest score when all of the contenders are ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by about 60 or 70 fellow voters who watch all of these sample episodes, their fellow actors. And I think if Julia is not your first place vote, she's your second place vote, right? Well, if you're going to do the Melissa McCarthy thing, well then, Julia gets second. So that's why I think that she takes it here.
Yep, I think you're right.
And Melissa, just like we talked about on another chat, if Melissa's not your first, she's probably more like knocking your 3, 4, 5. I don't know that you think she's second best.
Well, that's good. There's one that there's at least a reasonable amount of certainty. So now I think we're going to do another chat about comedy actor where I'm completely uncertain. So.
and all of the same arguments I made here for why Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to win, I'm going to dismantle those and prove my hypocrisy, which you've all suspected anyway, finally as an awards pundit.
Unless you see that one first, in which case you're going to sit and say, what's he talking about over here?
That's right.